All right, you guys, this is Klott coming to you guys live for the Alliance Skillset Mindset webinar development session. Guys, we're going to get started here in the next, I would say, about 5 minutes. So take this time right now to grab a pen, grab a notebook. You're going to need to take notes. And on top of that, make sure you guys are promoting this. Call your teams. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure you guys grab the link after this and send it out to the people that you care about and you want to have success in life, regardless of what field, industry, or company they're with. So this is going to be the Alliance Skillset Mindset Development session tonight. We are going to talk about how to model someone correctly and why you need to do it. And what I mean by modeling is how to create what you want in life based off of the fact that someone else already has it and they can teach you how to do it just by studying them and doing what they do. So with that said, guys, we're going to spend the next 5 minutes. Call your friends, call your family, get them on this call, get your teammates on this call, any business people, minded people that you know, anybody not even business minded that you know that wants to improve their life, call them, get them on this webinar. We'll get started here right at 8 Pacific, 11 Eastern. All right, you guys, we're going to give it another couple minutes, let the last few people hop on this thing before we get started. So give your teams a call right now. We're going to get started in the next 2 minutes. 2 minutes. All righty, here we go, you guys. We're going to get started right now on tonight's Alliance Skill Set Mindset webinar development. Guys, excited to come to you guys. I really am. I'm fired up. I've got a lot of good stuff for you guys tonight to take home. So make sure you have that pen, paper, and a notepad ready to go. And we're going to learn together on some stuff, okay? Now, the whole concept of what we're going to be talking about tonight is how to correctly model someone to get what you want in life. Now, a lot of you probably are asking, well, number one, what's modeling? And number two, why the hell do I have to learn it? Now, number one, what is modeling? Modeling is basically doing what someone else does in order to get what they've already gotten. Okay, so basically doing what they've done, thinking the way they've thought, taking the actions that they've taken in order to get the results that they've gotten. Does that make sense? I'm going to go into a little bit of detail, obviously, into that and what it means to model someone and how exactly to do it. But that's the basic concept. Now, why? A lot of people are like, well, that's cool, Alex, but why do I need to know how to model someone? Why can't I just be me? And that's great. Now, I'm going to cover both those things. Now, number one, why do you need to learn modeling? Why is it important that you personally learn modeling? It's important because you must grow. You must grow in order to live. If you're not growing, you're dying. That's the law of the universe. That's the law of life. That's just the way it is. So if you're not growing, you're dying. Now, you must grow, and because you must grow, someone's already accomplished what you want to accomplish, okay? And if you want to accomplish something bigger than something that someone's already accomplished, great. Accomplish what they've already accomplished, and then reach up and develop your own, basically, goal, or develop your own, raise the standard, set the bar, whatever you want to call it, but you must get to the point where they've been, okay? And in order to do that, you need to develop some of the habits, some of the paradigms that they've already developed. Now, a lot of you are saying, well, why can't I be me? I just want to be me. I'm just going to do my own thing. That's great. That's fantastic. Now, here's a question. And I want you guys to think about this, honestly. What is better and takes less time? Number one, learning how to properly shoot a basketball on your own so it goes in frequently, basically. So learning how to shoot a basketball well enough to the point where more times than, not necessarily, you're making the basket. What's easier? Number one, just figuring that out all on your own, not watching any videos, not watching anybody else play basketball. Like, you've never seen someone play basketball. You pick up a ball and you're like, okay, I got to get this in there. That's all you know. What's easier? Doing that, number one, and not having any help. Or number two, modeling yourself after someone who's already has a great shot and it goes in frequently. For me, number two makes the most sense. Why? Because I grew up playing basketball. And I remember the first time I looked at a ball, I was like, okay, got to get this thing in there. Now, how the heck do I do it? And how do I do it well? And it was simple, guys. You go on YouTube and you type in, Michael Jordan. You type in Kobe Bryant. You type in Ray Allen. You type in really whoever is the best in the field that you want to study. And I watched how they shot, and I was able to get their form down. And so my shot naturally improved a lot faster than if I just sat there and was like, okay, let's throw this thing in the hoop. Let's figure out how to do it, right? The whole concept revolves around understanding that someone's already done what you want. So why don't you model yourself and take what they already have learned and just go apply it? It happens a lot faster. Not saying you wouldn't figure it out on your own, but it would have taken a lot more time, correct? Correct. Awesome. Glad we agree on that. So number two is always better. So that's why we have to model. That's why it makes more sense, because we want to move faster. We want to grow more, right? So that's what we're excited about. Now, how are we going to do it? How the heck are we going to model someone? Alex, I don't know how I'm going to model. I want to be like this guy, but how am I supposed to be like him? I'm me. How do I be like him? Really, really simple. There's two ways, main ways that you could use modeling. Now, if it's for someone you know personally, a mentor maybe, I'm sure they have videos out. You can either watch their videos or you can watch and be around them. When you're around them, you can take notes and figure out how they do things. But number one is watch videos. Number two is read books, okay? Videos and books. When I first got into this business, you guys, I started studying Alex Morton. I started studying Brad Alcazan. I started studying Jed Buenluz. I started studying Patrick Comer and all these people who were already doing very well, who already had the success that I wanted and the influence that I wanted. So when I wanted to learn how to present properly, guess what? I typed in on YouTube how to present, right, in this company and how to present with the Alliance. And I looked at the different people that were speaking. I was like, I like that. He's really successful. I'm going to copy. I'm going to model what he does. So I modeled the way he talked. I modeled the tonality. I modeled, the phrases that he used. I modeled his physical body language, okay? All of these things I modeled, and therefore I got better. right? I grew. It's like I watched Ray Allen shoot a basketball, and therefore I went from not being able to shoot it to shooting it really well, just because I modeled myself after someone else rather than falling on my face thousands and thousands of times to figure it out. So find someone basically that you guys want to model, whether it's in network marketing, whether it's in bodybuilding, whether it's in physique competitions, whether it's in school, whether it's in anything, guys, anything really, music, sports, anything, literally, and apply this concept of, so find someone that has what you want. They have to have what you want. They can't just be like, yeah, I've talked about I've talked about people who have whatever. No, model yourself after someone who literally has what you want. 100%. They have to have the results, the physical results. Then you can model yourself after them. Now, why do we have to do it that way? And why do we have to study the people that have results? Because they have unconscious competence, and we're going to talk about that in a second, regarding their success, which means that they think the way you need to think, and they do that unconsciously. They think the way you need to think in order to accomplish what you want to accomplish. Now, how you think, and this is extremely important, write this down. How you think is 99% of success. 99% of success is how you think. What's going on up here, that's 99% of success. The other 1% is mechanics. Some people say it's 80% and then 20% is mechanics. Either way, it's extremely, extremely crucial that you think the correct way. If you don't think the correct way, you will not achieve success. So in order to think the right way, we're going to study people using these videos and these books. Okay, because they're unconsciously already thinking this way, so we have to study them and immerse ourselves in what they're doing so that we can start thinking in the same process. Now, I'm going to give you guys a real-life example that makes a lot of sense. So I might want to write this down. It's like shoe tying, okay? And there's 4 phases of learning, okay? There's 4 phases of learning, okay? 4 phases. We're going to talk about how to tie a shoe. The first phase of learning is called unconscious incompetence. Unconscious incompetence. Unconscious meaning you don't know, and incompetence meaning you're not able. Now, unconscious incompetence is like when you're young and you have a shoe on and you have no idea that you don't know how to tie it. Like someone puts a shoe on you and you're like, we're good to go. And they're like, no, you have to tie it. And you're like, tie what? And you look down and you're like, oh, tie that? Yeah, I don't know how to do that, right? But right there, from going from tie what? I don't have to tie anything. I just got to, we're strapped on. We're good to go. It's untied. From not knowing that you don't know how to tie a shoe, then you became the next step. So that's 1, consciously incompetent. So conscious incompetence means that you know that you don't know. It means that you are aware that you have no freaking clue how to do what you need to do, right? So that's when you're like, oh my gosh, I have to tie these shoes. I can't walk anywhere. I can't run. I need to know how do I tie these? I have no idea how to tie these shoes. Right? So that's the consciously incompetent stage. That's number 2. Phase 3 is consciously competent. So whether your mom, dad, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, teacher, whatever, taught you how to tie those shoes, once they taught you how to tie them, right, you then knew how to tie them. But you couldn't just zone out like now you can zone out and just tie it, and we'll talk about that in a second. But you literally had to sit there and you're like, okay, now you cross it, you tie it down, you hold it there, you bunny ear or double lace, whatever you guys do. You learned a way to do it. You learned a strategy, right? You learned a way to think, and you were aware of doing it though. You were the whole time, you couldn't someone couldn't really talk to you or you couldn't engage in something else. You had to really focus on tying the shoe. That's conscious competence. Okay, that's called conscious competence. So that's being able to, that's knowing that you know how to do it. That's knowing that you know, but you have to be conscious while doing it. You can't just unconsciously do it. Okay, and then the last phase, which is I hope where most of you are at in terms of shoe tying, is unconsciously competent. I can bend over right now and tie my shoe and not even think about it, right? I don't have to be focused on it. It's just something I do, right? My shoe comes untied in the middle while I'm walking. I'll just bend down and do it. Good to go. I can think about 1,000 different things, right? Now, that's called unconscious incompetence. So when you look at it, it goes phase 1, unconsciously incompetent. You have no idea that you need to tie a shoe. It just doesn't, it's not even aware to you, right? You're like, tie a shoe. What shoe? What tie? What tie what? Number 2 is consciously incompetent. You're like, oh, that shoe, I've got to tie that? I have no idea how to tie that. Can you teach me how to tie that? Number 3 is conscious competence. You're like, okay, I can tie this thing, but I've got to really focus on this. I can't talk to you right now. I got to focus, right? And then lastly is unconsciously competent. You're like, I can tie this shoe, no problem. You can talk to me. I can be doing this. I can be thinking about that. We're good to go. Boom. Okay. So those are the 4 levels, right? Those are the 4 levels of learning. And we need to scope that and really, mold that into what we need to do to accomplish our goals in terms of other areas of life. So What I'm talking about is if you want to get really good at, business skills, right? Whether it's inviting, setting an appointment, right? Or whether it's presenting, or whether it's this or that or whatever. You need to find someone, number one, that has what you want. You need to find someone who's great at approaching, great at setting an appointment. Then you need to study them. You need to study them 100%. You need to find out how they think. You need to be around them. You need to see what they're doing when they set appointments, what their body language is like, their tonality, how they hold themselves, what they talk about, the words they say, everything. Okay. And because right now, if you're not good at it, if you suck at approaching, guess what? At least you're consciously incompetent. Okay. Before you entered this business, you were unconsciously incompetent. You didn't know that you sucked at setting appointments. You're like, setting appointments, I didn't know I sucked at that, but now I know I suck at it. So consciously competent. Now you're consciously incompetent. You know that you suck at appointments. So now it's time to become consciously competent, learn how to get good at setting appointments. So you model yourself and you learn how to do it, but you have to be focused. Okay. You can't just unconsciously do it like they do now. The most successful people, they just set appointments all the time. They're like, I just set 10 appointments. I didn't realize it. Right? Because they've done it so many times, and practice makes perfect. Okay? It's these little neurons that go on your brain. Each one strand is created each time you do something, each time you practice something. So you just got to do it a lot until you become unconsciously competent. But then you're consciously competent. You're like, okay, I can set the appointment, but I really got to focus. Okay. And then the last phase is now, for me at least, guys, I've been doing this business for over 2.5 years. I'm unconsciously setting appointments all the time. I don't have to think about it. It's part of the conversation. It just happens. Okay. And that's what you need to get to. Okay. In terms of all the areas of this business and anything in life that you want to get good at, you got to go from not knowing that you suck to knowing that you suck, but wanting to improve. And then you got to go to being able to do it, but really having to focus on it, to lastly having literally a great skill that you don't even have to think about doing. It just happens. Okay. Because you've done it so many times. So the gap between each one is really simple. From unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence, it's just knowing and being aware that you need improvement, drastically, that you actually need to get good at this skill or need to develop this mindset. Okay. Then from conscious incompetence to conscious competence, the little gap there is basically just learning the skill. It's basically just watching and modeling yourself after someone until you can do it consciously, until you're like, okay, I get it. It makes sense. Okay. And then the gap between conscious competence and unconscious competence, it's literally just practice. It's literally just doing it over and 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 over again. Okay. Until you get tired of hearing me say that and you just keep doing it. And then eventually you're like, holy crap, I'm setting appointments. I'm presenting. I'm closing. I'm doing all these different things. I'm shooting a basketball, whatever. You're doing it unconsciously, but you're doing it freaking great. That's the point, guys. That's what we get excited about, is going from unconsciously incompetent to unconsciously competent. That's the goal. That's how you become successful at something. That's how you model someone. So number one, find someone who has what you want. That's extremely important. They have to have physical results. Okay. I don't care if they're a super overdeveloped, in terms of this business, at least, if they don't make the money you want to make, right off the gate, within 90 days, a year, you got to find someone else. And that's just God honest. It really is. Okay. Now that's number one. Number two is understand these 4 levels and understand that you went from unconsciously incompetent to consciously incompetent. Okay. And then from conscious incompetence, make sure that you find someone who has what you want and move all the way down until you can do it without even thinking about it. And that's how you become great at anything in life. I don't care what it is. That's how you become outstanding, freaking amazing, rock star. People want to follow you because now you're the person they get to model because you're unconsciously competent about it. Now, the whole concept of this, guys, only works if you have a desire to learn it, if you have a desire to get better, if you have a passion for what you're doing. And I'm telling you guys right now, you have to get excited in the sense that, not hype all the time, right? But you have to have that burning desire. So that starts with setting goals. Make sure you guys have your goals set, 90-day goals, physical goals, 90-day goals, financial goals, a year goal, obviously financial and a year goal, physical, and make sure you guys are consciously working towards those. Make sure you guys are developing the skills, developing the mindsets, using those four levels of learning. And guys, trust me, that's not from me. I got that from someone I was modeling. So guess what? It's really credible. Trust me. You guys just need to get excited about it. Understand that now you know what's separating you from having the skills that you want and receiving the results that you want in life. It's so simple. It's the learning. It's just here. It's here to here. That's all it is. Literally all it is. If you're not getting the results you want, you have to grow and you have to raise the standard. You have to step up and realize that you have to go from unconsciously incompetent all the way to unconscious competence in all the skills, all the areas, all the mindset, whatever it is that you need to change, you need to grow. And the fastest way to do that is by modeling someone. So with that said, you guys, I'm going to save this video. It's going to go on YouTube. Make sure you guys promote it. Send it to your friends. Send it to someone who you care about, that you want to see them grow and want to see them improve. And maybe they're stuck, at a certain point in their life or career or whatever, and they need growth, and they need to know that they need growth. So they're unconsciously incompetent and they need to know. So make them consciously incompetent and then help them grow all the way up through those 4 levels and help them become the next success story. And that'll make you the next success story. So guys, with that said, Alex Klott, thank you guys so much for attending tonight's skill set mindset development webinar. Tomorrow night, guys, Wednesday, we have really exciting 7 p.m. Pacific. John Soriano will be talking about Pro Fitness Alliance and sharing the opportunity. Make sure you get your athlete fitness minded friends onto that. And then after that at 8 p.m., what I'm super stoked about, seriously I am, is Amanda Siller will be presenting the Women's Empowerment Network Women in Action webinar, talking about what's going on at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern. So very exciting things coming up. Thank you guys for hopping on. Really appreciate you. Have a great night.